Okay, and we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Financial Insights. I'm Linda, your accounting coach. Today, we have a special guest, actually, my first guest on Facebook Live. Figured it, she just taught me how to use StreamYard. So I will let Nicole introduce herself. Nicole is from the Money Bitch community, Powerhouse Money. We recently just connected on Instagram. I love what they post on Instagram, so you should definitely follow them. So she's a financial advisor. So she is going to provide tips to us who are small business owners, entrepreneurs on how to manage our personal finances, and then even regarding our business, some of the risks, and some of the protection that we need to take. So, Nicole, if you want to introduce yourself and tell us all about the community and the book and everything.
Sure. Thank you so much, Linda. And I'm excited to be your first live stream. So I am the founder and CEO of Wilcox Financial Group, which is a boutique financial planning firm for women and couples. And so in that company, we really want to focus on giving unbiased advice on investments, helping clients set up investments, especially you small business owners out there thinking about paying yourself first and saving for your future, right? Setting up things like those 401ks, simple IRAs, SEP IRA, as well as we are insurance brokers. So we're able to provide any kind of individual lines insurances, like life insurance, disability. We're appointed with all the carriers. It's what's in our clients' best interest. You'll see a theme here. And then on the other side, we do the fee-based financial planning, which is really that overall comprehensive planning and helping you reverse engineer the how to get what you want. And then on the money coaching side, or Powerhouse Money, we really specialize in money coaching for female entrepreneurs. And so really that's talking to the accountability, the habits, the behaviors, the things that we need to work on maybe before you're ready for financial planning. I joke it's kind of like that money boot camp that you need to gear up to get ready to the next level, because there's so much that goes on in our lives. And especially as an entrepreneur, when you're really busy, there's a lot of basics that you just have to figure out. And so we do quite a bit of that. And then I also am a business coach for service-based female entrepreneurs and really helping women help scale their businesses, become more profitable, and really step into alignment with what they want to achieve. Because Linda, we founded the company in 2012, and I've made a lot of mistakes growing a financial planning firm. And we took all of those mistakes and really converted them into valuable lessons and coaching programs to help other women in business understand just how to get there quicker, better, faster, stronger, and not make those expensive mistakes that we did, and really coaching around that confidence that's needed.
Okay, great. So my first question is, so as a business owner, a lot of us say, well, we just don't make enough money. How can I barely pay myself. How can I start saving for retirement? So where do you suggest we actually start?
So a couple of things. And the first is, if you're barely making enough money, my first question, and of course, this is going to be coming from the business coaching, why, right? What isn't working, or what could maybe be working better? And so it's important to take a close look at your pricing schedule, your packages, how much time you're spending on everything, and are your prices in alignment with the value you're actually providing? And so a lot of the time we feel guilty for charging more because we just want to help people. But the reality of it is you are not a charity. We are in business to make an impact and to make a profit, and making a profit isn't bad. So that's the first thing. And then, of course, there's a lot that goes along with that in terms of marketing yourself. But if you're just starting up and you don't have a ton of excess cash flow, what I want to point out is a little bit goes a long way. And so it's important to just pay yourself a little bit. and you can increase it over time. But even if it's $100 a month, right, which you can probably find, that's $1,200 a year. That's compounding growth and interest. And before you know it, it will be $50,000. You know, it's the time value of money and investing. And so it snowballs, and it's much easier to get started with something small than to not start at all and having to save a lot more down the road. And so the sooner you start, even if it's little and it doesn't feel like a big difference, I promise you, it will make a big impact down the road. And once you create that habit, right, and you're used to or accustomed to the automated savings, it's much easier to incrementally increase that over time as your profitability picks up.
Okay, that's great. And so we know as small businesses, we don't work for an actual corporation, because, you know, when you work for a corporation, 401k and some other retirement plans. So regarding small businesses, what options are out there for us?
So you are right. We are our benefits department. And so it's important to prioritize that. And again, put yourself first. So when it comes to retirement plans for business owners, there are a few options. One being a SEP IRA, Simplified Employer Pension Plan. There's Simple IRA. And then there's solo 401k, or you can establish a 401k as well. The differences between these types of plans are going to be the amount that you can contribute, the rules surrounding them, and most importantly, if you plan to have employees. Because what you need to be careful about when establishing these different types of retirement plans is that if you hire employees and they become eligible, you're going to need to offer them a retirement plan and potentially have to match them. And so you want to make sure that if that's a goal of your business, great. It's a wonderful recruitment and retention tool, but it's extra cash flow. And so you just want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. But with any one of these retirement plans, what I say to business owners often is, one, they're never set in stone. So you can always change from one to the other from year to year. But also think about, where is my business headed? You know, you want to plan for the direction that you're going, not where you are right now. And so that's important to think about as well in terms of setting these different things up. You know, I think 401k is your most robust, but it's your most complicated. And so there's nothing wrong with starting out with maybe a SEP IRA or a simple IRA first. And there's still that traditional IRA as well, if you're not quite yet in a position to do more than 6K.
Okay, great. So what are some of the common mistakes you see small businesses making regarding their financial planning?
Well, it probably common to the ones that you see, Linda. It's not knowing the numbers, right? It's not knowing the numbers, and I mean that in a couple of different silos. And so one of them is not understanding how much their business is actually profiting. So oftentimes I see women understand their revenue numbers, but they don't understand the profit margins or which services are most profitable or what their hourly rate even is. So understanding the numbers is really huge, because it allows you to understand whether or not you have pitfalls in your packages or your pricing models, and if that needs to change. And then tracking them as well to know if you're being realistic with your goals and income projections, and then making sure you're setting yourself up for every what if. You know, oftentimes we run and fly by the seat of our pants because we're putting out 100 fires. We're wearing every single hat in the organization. And we fail to think about things like, well, what if I get disabled? Or what if someone sues me? Or what if a client doesn't pay? So making sure that you're setting up those foundations as well within the business organization, so that you are not only setting yourself up for success, but you're creating a protective moat, not only around your business, but so that it doesn't inadvertently affect or adversely affect your personal, right? Your personal life and business. And And I know you only asked for like one tip, but I've got another thing that's super helpful with business, and especially small business owners, is actually if you understand your personal financial plan, right? And I do this all the time in talking to clients is if you understand what you're capable of achieving and what it takes to get everything that you want on the personal side, right? The things that we really wake up for, what matters most, what we want to provide our family, and you understand to reach everything that you want, you only need to make $107,000 a year, whatever it is, right? It makes it so much easier to grind it out in the business because now you know what you're working for. You know what your numbers are, because what I find often is women will say, oh, I want to make 6 figures this year, or multiple 6 figures or 7, but they don't know why. Right? They don't know why, and they don't know the end game. And so although it's great to say you want to do that, if you can't get really specific and understand why that's important, it's not going to be powerful enough to get you through those really hard days.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. And so you talked about this just a few minutes ago about protecting your business. So what does that mean regarding like insurance, disability? Because like, once again, when you're in corporate, when you get hired, you have a meeting, they go over all the different benefits. They have, life insurance, voluntary life insurance, disability. And I know, some of us may not be at that point. But, can you talk about that? Because I think that's one of the things that I think I need to look into is like, how do you, if I get hurt, am I covered? What do I have?
Right. Exactly. So I'll start from the top and ski downhill. So first, your question on disability. So you don't have an employer providing you a group disability plan or workman's comp if you're hurt on the job, which would be probably pretty hard to be hurt on the job as an accountant. But maybe you fall off your chair, you get blind, who knows? But what you want to think about is a couple of things. One is if you get disabled, and disabled, by the way, is most often illness, actually. So think cancer or a serious illness that would prevent you from working. It's not always an accident. And oftentimes our brains just go to, oh, I'm not a risky person, I don't need that. But if you are the person, the only person earning your paycheck through the business, disability insurance replaces your paycheck. So you want to think about, okay, how much coverage do I need so that if I can't operate in my business, and if you're the only one making income in your business, to protect that. If you are a business owner who has overhead or employees, there's also something called disability overhead insurance. So that if you're out of work, your overhead is still being covered and paid for. Now, if you're in a partnership circumstance, you're going to want to make sure that you guys have a proper buy-sell agreement written. And within your legal agreements, you want to spell out and have a conversation about, hey, if we're 50-50 partners and one of us gets disabled, what happens? Will you continue to pay that person who isn't working? Maybe, but that could build up some resentment. So you might want to require each other to have disability policies or something to that effect. We talk about this all the time. And then on the life insurance side of the board, same deal. Your employer is not giving you that group policy. So when you're a business owner, it's twofold. One, who's counting on you to live? Are there employees or a partner who need you to live? And do you need, again, a funded buy-sell so that if something happens to you, your partner is getting a life insurance policy payout to either help replace you or buy out your spouse, right? Or if you're just a one-man band, you probably need a good amount of coverage to protect your family so that they can maintain their lifestyle because your business is no longer providing them income if you were it. Right. So you want to think about that and what that looks like. And, insurance, you guys, isn't all that scary. It's just asking the questions. It's really understanding what's available and what's out there. And there's ranges from super expensive Cadillac to basic coverage sleep at night. And so when it comes to insurance, I think we've all had bad experiences with it in the past, is that ask the questions. And if you don't understand or like the answers that you're getting, ask more or find someone else, and I'd encourage your community, Linda, if they want to reach out to me or ask questions, like we are here to give that education and information. And the reality of it is I've been doing it for over a decade. So, it's easy for us to give that blanket info out. And so, and then on the insurance side, from a liability perspective, so you want to make sure that you guys have adequate liability insurance. You may need an umbrella policy. If you have a business that has products, so maybe you're selling clothing or a boutique, or if you're someone who actually travels for business and your products are inside your car, is your car insurance protecting the value of the products in your car, or do you have an additional rider or policy for that? If you're a professional like myself or Linda, or maybe an attorney, you also want to make sure you have adequate E&O or errors and admissions insurance in case we make a mistake or we get sued. That's really important. So liability insurance, you guys, is huge. This stuff is typically inexpensive, but it is a non-negotiable, right? You have to CYA. And then the next part of that, and this is really, more in the legal realm of things. And so to be clear, this is not legal advice. I am not an attorney. I encourage you to talk to a business attorney, but you guys want to make sure that you are protected from the perspective of making sure you have the right disclosures and disclaimers on your website, any kind of materials that you're handing out, that you have adequate and appropriate contracts, so that when you're engaging in a relationship with a client, you're protecting yourself and you're protecting them. Do you have proper contracts in place to set expectations to ensure that you're going to get paid? And then perhaps you have other materials that you want to protect, or names like trademarks, copyrighted materials, things like that. You want to protect what you worked really, really hard for. Don't leave it open for, negotiation or for somebody else to steal it. Because if it's a good idea, someone's going to want to. And so really, really think about that. And then also consider maybe incorporating or establishing an LLC. There's, the legal reason behind that is, again, it separates your business from your personal. And so you're not putting your personal lives at risk from anything that could go wrong in the business. So that's important. And then of course, filing as a subchapter S under a C corporation or an LLC can have tax perks depending on what your revenue is as well, of which that is Linda's ballpark, not mine. But we always work hand in hand with the accountant or the CPA, because these are really critical factors that can put more money in your pocket, you guys, or save you from potentially spending money because something went wrong, right?
Yep, exactly. Good point. Let's see. Terry has a question. She says, if you don't have an IRA, let's see, suggestion. Do you have a suggestion on getting started with a small sum? So I'm trying to see. Terry, if you're still on, I think it was probably a typo. If you don't have an IRA, getting started with a small. Yeah, Terry, if you're still on, can you retype your question? I think she's asking, and I think you answered that already, just getting started, where do you get, how do you get started? So like, for instance, if someone wanted to start an traditional IRA, like how much do they have to get started with?
So it actually depends on what you're investing in. And so usually you can start with any amount of money. It's just what you're going to have access to or exposure to. So in the world of investing, the more money you have, the more options you have. And so for folks who are just getting started, typically we'll use something like a what's called a target date fund or an allocation fund. So it allows you to start with a small amount of money, but be well diversified. So that way you're not having all your eggs in one basket. And so that's a really nice way to get started. And again, the minimums usually to purchase a mutual fund like that, some have $0 mutual minimum, some have $250 or $500 mutual minimum. So it just depends. And then there's also things called ETFs, which are like a mutual fund, but they trade like a stock, and there aren't purchase minimums for those as well. So again, there's lots of ways to get started. It's just a matter of getting started in that action. So don't be worried about the minimum. There's always something out there that you can start with. And then as your assets grow, you can always graduate in something that might be a little bit better.
Okay, great. And before we go, I would like for you to talk about your business coaching, because I attended last week's webinar, and I thought it was so great. So if you can talk about, the business coaching side in your upcoming mastermind that you have coming up.
Sure, I'd love to. And so with the business coaching, we are really working with women who are in the place in their business where they're ready to level up. They're super ambitious, and you might be feeling a little bit stuck, or just like you want that overall community and support because you're made for more, you know exactly what you want, but you're here and you're not exactly sure how to fill the gap, right? And I think we've all been there. And so our mastermind is launching July 1st, and it's actually going to meet the first Tuesday of every month. And the idea is to bring a very small group of women together where we are every single month going to meet and do hot seats. And so what you'll be doing, Linda, is everybody in the group is going to submit a form of the one challenge, the one question that they have and they want solved for that month. And then I'm going to coach them one-on-one so that they get a result, they get an answer, and you have action steps to take then, move forward and implement, as well as getting feedback from the group. And then you get to hear everybody else's challenges too, because oftentimes we have the similar challenges and can apply it to our business, or it wasn't even on our radar and now it is. And you really learn quite a bit from that, and that collaboration and the support in the community that's built. And the cool thing about this mastermind is it's small, so there's a ton of attention, but it's non-competitive. And so if you are you will be the only person in your industry. So there's no fear of competition, but then everyone is such a tight support system. And then in between that monthly coaching call, we have anytime access to WhatsApp on a group chat. So often we get questions all the time throughout the month as women are getting stuck, or maybe they have to negotiate a contract, or perhaps they're getting a lot of objections and they need help talking through that, or repackaging, or helping with their sales process or their language. Whatever comes up, there's so many things, and I'm sure you can relate to this, that you get stuck in your own head and you're like, oh, I wish I had somebody to bounce this idea off of that gets it, right? Like, I know it's so helpful because when I bounce an idea off my husband, he's like, sure, that sounds great, because he has no idea what I'm talking about, right? He wants to help, but he sucks at it. So, so it provides that ongoing support as well. And then we also check in on a weekly basis for accountability to make sure you're doing the thing, right? Oftentimes we're the ones standing in our own way. And if you had someone just pushing the level up a little bit more every single week, imagine what you could accomplish. And then we also do monthly co-working sessions as well, where we all jump online, we say what we're going to accomplish, and then we all just work and do it. Because again, we fail to take time to work on the business and make it better and do those things that we procrastinate. And so it's a year-long program, because I'm such a big advocate of the first 6 months, you're learning, you're getting through it, you're implementing, and then the next 6 months, you're seeing the fruits of your labor, you're seeing the transformation and everything that we were able to accomplish, which comes with a whole new bag of issues that we have to work on and work through. But that's, a year is such a good amount of time to see great transformation, increased revenue, and truly a better, more productive or effective business, right? That's really running on all cylinders. And so That's the program. It's amazing. We've been getting really great feedback from all of the groups that we've ran so far, and it's just truly so much fun. I think that to get ahead quicker, better, faster, stronger, to have a coach, to have the support is just imperative, whether it's with us or someone else. It's really, coaches always have coaches, and it's the best way to really grow.
Yeah. And to everyone, I suggest you have a coach. I had a coach, my very first coach a couple years ago. And I mean, it, like Nicole said, it's just really transformative. So if you're stuck, don't know where to go, definitely look into the program. I recently heard that even Denzel Washington has an acting coach. So everyone has a coach. So we really, I think, particularly women entrepreneurs, we need to start looking into that. So Nicholle, is there anything else you want to share with us?
No, I think, if there's one thing to take away, it is, if you have a goal, but you haven't reached it yet, what's the one thing standing in your way? And take action on that one uncomfortable thing, because you are the only person who can create success, create failure, create your happiness, and create your own demise. And so what do you want that picture to look like? And then go seek the help that you need to make it happen, or start taking action on the things that you may have been putting off, because you, my friends, are worth the effort, right?
Okay. Well, Nicholle, thank you so much for being our very first live guest. We appreciate it. Everyone have a good day.
Thank you, Linda.